Big update today from Fabrizio Romano and a number of other credible journalists. We are looking at the exit of Balogun from Arsenal. Could this done deal be on the horizon? We're looking at new £94 million bids for Harry Kane. We're talking Todibo to Manchester United. And of course, the big chase now that's on for the West Ham attacking midfielder in Paqueta. Man City mean big business indeed. Plus an update on Elise to Chelsea. Is that deal closing in? Viewers, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you are subscribing. Let's do this. Man City have, I'm not going to say they've been sleeping this summer. They've signed Maguire, they've signed Kovacic, but everybody was waiting for that genuine replacement for Ilkay Gundogan. Everybody's been waiting for it. Fabrizio Romano updates us here and on the Lucas Paqueta chase, where he says Man City have approached West Ham with a verbal discussion over a 70 million package, but stated that it's not enough for the player. The deal is not easy, but City will try again. They say that Guardiola has always been a fan of Paqueta. The player is keen after he was picked for the Brazil national squad recently, and he moved agents. According to Fabrizio Romano, there's also been an update here from Santi, who is one of the leading journalists as well, that says Man City have made a verbal offer of 80 million, but West Ham want 90. Negotiations underway. So that tells you that West Ham are considering this. It tells you West Ham are looking at this as a potential deal. He states that the midfielder wants to move to Man City. So personal terms there are not going to be an issue in any capacity. Any kind of capacity whatsoever, that they are going to be okay. Now, I want to get people's opinions because I felt this season with Paqueta, look, he won a European trophy with West Ham, but I feel like with the way West Ham United play football, I thought both Paqueta and Scamacca were kind of hampered, if that makes sense. Almost there wasn't enough attacking prowess. There wasn't enough of the ball. They probably sat anywhere between 10 to 20 yards too deep at times to really get the best out of those two highly talented players. They both a year later could be moving on. And you look at the kind of players that West Ham are linked to with Maguire, obviously linked to Ward-Prowse and Scott McTominay and Gallagher. It's almost like they're saying, look, the style of football that David Moyes plays with, we think the British players will handle it a lot better than individuals that are brought up and developed in a far more attacking, flamboyant, free-flowing style of football, i.e. the way Pep Guardiola plays the game. And sometimes it's about putting square pegs. You can't put square pegs in round holes. And I think there's an element there of a football culture clash when it comes to some of the players Moyes has and the way he wants to play football. So it's an intriguing piece of business. I want to get your opinions on this, but it does feel like when you read the stories, when you read what Fabrizio says, what Santi says, it's not enough they've offered so far, but negotiations are on. The player wants to move. You look at all the plethora of midfielders West Ham are looking to buy, and it does feel like this deal is going to happen. But I want your opinions on that, ladies and gentlemen. Now, staying with Fabrizio Romano here, he speaks about the situation with Balogun and this deal, this exit for Arsenal, which many believe will trigger an incoming and attacking player for Arsenal. Mohamed Kudus is maybe the most popular choice amongst Arsenal fans. It goes on to state that AS Monaco have sent a 30 million bid this week, not enough to convince Arsenal yet. And the yet is very, very important here. Inter have a budget of around 30 million euros for the striker, but they can include an important sell-on clause as well. Both clubs remain keen, but after Ebola broke his ACL, Monaco are really pushing. I didn't know he did that. Good luck to him and get to better. The player is listening to both clubs. And I know Arsenal want this 50 million. I think Arsenal are right to push for as much money as possible. You have to listen, the Liverpools and the Man Cities have been so good in years gone by at raising funds for the sale of players. And I think clubs like Man United, I think clubs like Arsenal have often allowed players to leave for too little money. I think we've overpaid at times and we've undersold. And I know a lot of fans will say, but it isn't my money. Why do I care? You should, because go and research what the saying burning the candle at both ends mean. And financially, that is what Arsenal are doing if they buy expensive players but undersell their assets that are leaving the football club. You have to get the right amount of money for them. So I think this deal will happen. And then it's about what comes next. For me, the fact that Kudus hasn't agreed those personal terms yet means that deal is on. I know a lot of Arsenal fans want another striker or someone that can play on that right-hand side to help cover and support Bukayo Saka, who probably does at his young age get slightly overplayed throughout the course of the season. 2 years running, has sort of burned out towards the end. That's no fault of his. More rotation is needed. So Gooners, let me know what you think below. Now, I want to speak about the situation with Jean-Claire Todibo, who is linked to Manchester United. We know that the club are very, very close to agreeing a deal with West Ham for Maguire for around £35 million. Scott McTominay as well, £40 to £45 million is the current quoted price United could get. But it has been said here by Fabrizio that Man United have had contact and been informed of the conditions of the deal. No bid or talks at this stage. That was on the 7th of August. However, he now goes on to say that Man United's priority target is Todibo if Maguire leaves, as revealed 2 days ago. Contacts have already taken place. So contacts already happened. I spoke to a journalist last night that said personal terms have been discussed verbally. There is a verbal agreement in place. He will agree to them. He wants to become a Manchester United player. Now, I've said this on a number of shows. I'll say it again. I know very little about this man. I'm not going to big him up and talk about how amazing he is. I can parrot what some scouting reports have said, and there's some positive feeling around this individual, but that's why I'm excited. It's very rare in modern day football with the internet and with social media and fans talking and everything, and even computer games. Not that they dictate how good a player is, but you hear so many names of players. It's rare that you come across a player that you don't remember hearing of or you've never heard of. And there's an element of excitement in that for me. I trust the talent ID of Erik ten Hag. I hope this deal comes through. What I've read about him is very, very positive, but he wants to be a Man United player. Terms will be agreed. Let me know what you think below, my people. Now, I'm going to go to Harry Kane very, very soon, but I wanted to have a stop here on Chelsea and the situation regarding Michael Olise. It's now claimed that the release clause is slightly higher than the widely quoted £35 million that other journalists have already put out. It is complicated by some slightly unusual terms set by Olise, including Olise being able to turn down a move even if the clause is triggered. I don't personally think that is going to be too much of an issue, but it's all about who else is in for him. So I can imagine Olise saying, hold your horses, Chelsea, because Man City are interested in him. That makes sense. It makes sense. And I don't even think the most diehard Chelsea fan could create a story or a narrative that a player wouldn't consider City over Chelsea. Of course they would consider it, or they could consider it, and he wants to keep his options open. But I do think Chelsea would be a great place for Olise, with Poch as the manager, with what they are trying to develop. We know Arsenal are also interested, City, as I've already mentioned. But Chelsea fans, do you want him? Do you think you can get him? Or after the injury to Nkunku, do you believe you should be focusing on another area? Should it be that attacking midfield role that is more of a important area to fill as opposed to another right winger? Let me know in the comments section below. Now, the Harry Kane situation, 3 bids turned down from Bayern Munich to Tottenham Hotspur. It is now reported that Munich will submit a new 110 million euro. That's around about 94.5 million pounds for Harry Kane. I don't want to answer the question, will that be enough? Because most people are going to say no. Levy will say no. I'm going to ask you a different question that requires a bit more deeper thinking. Should that be enough for Harry Kane? Do you believe that Daniel Levy and co should do the right thing, the honourable thing, the moral thing? In fact, the best thing for Tottenham, and that's take £900 million for a player with 1 year left on his contract who, listen, will make them a better team this year, but they're not going to win anything, and then leave for free next year, and is at the risk of joining genuine local rivals that would damage Spurs fans so deeply, hurt them so deeply, cut them to depths of which humanity may have never seen in football. I think they should. I don't want to see him go to Bayern Munich. I want to see him at Man United. But the thing I don't want to see is him stay at Tottenham and waste another year of his career. I also don't want him to join, free of charge, a rival that challenges my club, at Chelsea. Dare I even say an Arsenal, a Liverpool even. Who knows the way the land lies next year? And look at Liverpool as an example. Let's say they improve massively this year and they look a brilliant team again. But let's just say it's another year where Darwin doesn't quite deliver. And suddenly Harry Kane's available for free. Liverpool with Harry Kane is a different proposition. I don't want that to happen. So I've got my personal biased reasons for wanting Spurs to accept this. But when I remove my own personal feelings, I look at Daniel Levy and I say, look, you have ruined and held that man's career back enough. Please accept this bid. Please allow Harry Kane to leave because he deserves much, much better, in my humble opinion. But listen, viewers, to all the stories today, give us your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions. I want to know what you believe is going to happen with them. More to come later today on The Terrace. Please make sure you smash like buttons and subscribe. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. And I'll see you all again.